Okay.
Better than last episode. I like it. Hello?
Are we back? Are we back?
I would need my production crew inside my chat to let us know how it's going.
Yeah. Best episode so far. Great.
Best episode
We're
of the
canceled.
day. Thank you.
We're gone. All right. So yeah, that was an interesting series. That last game was Nutter Butters for one.
I thought that game would be really quick. I called my Uber like halfway through the game, and then especially after I saw the Baron and as well as the Elder take by C9, and I was like, you know what? I got faith, but I'm not stupid. So I called my Uber, and then I see COG get a Baron, and it started doing some magic.
Yeah. So I was wrong. They didn't get 3-0'd, but I just man. At some point, I was just like, I kind of don't want either of these teams to represent NA. Let's just adopt KT. You know, they really want to be there at Worlds. We'll just toss them their money. We'll get Steve to pitch in, and we'll adopt them, bring them into the NA family, and have them represent us. I don't know.
I kind of understand what you mean. Like, I think the third place team is not going to do great at Worlds, but who knows? Yeah. Maybe they get a great bracket.
So it's always possible, right, that you can luck out super hard in bracket.
Yes.
But the thing is, the third seed has to go through the play-in stage too, right?
Yes. Oh, the second one does too, but I think they come in at the next phase.
I see. So it's much easier anyway.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I'm not thinking. Can I see C9 lose to like some of the play-in groups?
I mean.
Yeah, maybe.
Potentially, right? Like, that always seems like it's a possibility. So.
And that's true. Like, last time, people did hate on C9 last year. And historically, when they go to Worlds, they do, like, above average. From what expectations, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a much different squad, I think.
Oh, second seed doesn't have to go in the play-in. So it's just third.
Okay, so I was right.
Yeah,
it's just
my bad,
third. Yeah, so it's just the third. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, like, in general, I know Mark talked about it on the other thing that he does with Travis, that, like, you know, this year... it feels like expectations should be lower for NA teams. It just feels like we're less solid overall. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, he told me about that too, and I was like, the thing is, I don't watch other regions but Europe, because Europe comes on near my time slot, and I'll like put it on. I'll be like, oh, dude, I love watching Mysterious Monkeys pick Katarina, and then go like 06. You know, so I don't have much comparison points. However, I do think that. I just expect a cleaner gameplay a lot of times. I shouldn't be going into games when I watch games at the top level of the region and be like, what are these teams trying to do here? I understand their win condition. I understand what they have to do to win.
Yeah.
And inside the game, it seems like they don't. Like, they're playing either a comp that's really hard to execute and they don't know how to execute it, or they're playing, like, an easy comp and don't know how to play the map correctly, or like just even how the Baron, you know?
Yeah.
The fact that Dig, who's a team that didn't make it in, but has the best Baron control of any team in A, is kind of sketchy for me. It's like, okay, they're winning because their Baron control is super good, but shouldn't other teams have similar levels of Baron control and are just better teams?
Gotcha.
But let me close this real quick. Wait, where's the volume button in this?
You're taking out my melee? It's just... turn it off, the rightmost button.
Easy, yes.
But yeah, anyways, is there anything that you want to talk about? Let's say besides League, a couple of hot topics right now. One is the PewDiePie N-word drop.
Oh my god. Okay. I thought this was so stupid. I think, yes, it shouldn't be a natural tendency for someone to immediately, in a high-seated moment, think that word. Probably.
Yeah.
But also, it's like... it's weird.
Yeah,
I actually don't know if it should be as big of a controversy as it is. I think with his history, that's why it got blown up so much.
It's the scale, right? It's not not like the news organizations went crazy when, what was it, Panzer Dragon did the same thing.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So I haven't seen the clip, so I don't know the context.
And arguably, Panzer's was even worse. Like, I've met the guy, but that guy literally just says whatever's on his mind. Like, and he'll just come in and just say, oh, okay, that's this.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll be like, whoa.
Yeah. So in general, I'm usually on the side of, like, let's not use our first step to go and be offended by something. But generally speaking, if you're gonna say the N word, especially with the hard R, ooh man, that's hard to defend you, dude. All right, Scarra, can you demonstrate what that's like?
If I just ended up dropping that word right here, I have no word, no context, just said it right now.
Yeah. Kotaku, boom! Scarra dropped the N.
It's like
Scarra showing his support for PewDiePie in terms of solidarity, and is also now.
but real talk. If I said that word, outside of randomly saying the word to say the word,
yeah,
what is wrong with saying it?
Well, I mean, oh man. We are unpacking.
Oh, we're going.
A can of worms
so
here.
this is something that I would obviously never do. Like,
yeah.
But let's say I just dropped it right now. I got 100 people in the chat watching, and they're just like, "What would go wrong if I dropped this?"
Well, okay. I mean, one, you know, maybe a news organization's like, "Wow, Scarra said this. That's crazy," and then Intel probably drops you as, you know, whatever, right? But in general, like. The history around the word is to the point where, like, oh God, like, please don't say, you know what I mean? Like, that it's just kind of like society accepts it as just a taboo word. Maybe down the line, it becomes less taboo, right? Like,
yeah.
But it's like too fresh in history, right? Like when we're talking about history of like not even like 30 years here, it's a little too fresh. There's still people alive who are in the times where like, you know, the Jim Crow laws existed, right? So like. Saying something like that, it feels like it's too soon, you know?
Right. No, that's definitely how it is for me. Like, it's like a racial slur. You shouldn't say it, but maybe in the future down the line, like a lot of these taboo words that are really, really hard to say, like at the time,
yeah, like
become more and more accepted over time.
Yeah, I think so. In general, right? Like, I think more and more people just swear in general.
Oh, that's
what I was gonna say. It used to be, you know, you cannot say the word fuck, right? And like, if you do that in a workplace, like you get fired, you know, for being unprofessional and blah blah blah. But you know, words can change their meaning over time. I don't know. Whew. This is a. Yeah, I got fined, so you pay up for that, right? Because I don't make anything. So.
Yeah, I'll pay for that. Whatever company is watching, I'm sorry, it's not. We didn't rate this as a mature rating, 18 only plus. So I'll take the hit for it.
I don't know. In any case, at least because I work at Riot, you know, people swear all the time, and that's generally accepted. Obviously, it changes from workplace to workplace. You know, you have different cultures, but at least it's accepted. The N word, just not. You don't mess with that. You know.
No, yeah, I understand. It's just something that, I think of it as something that may be something that's acceptable like years down, like decades, maybe centuries down the line.
When it's further away from the current kind of state of politics. In general, I just feel like the internet is going to have a giant war over just the notion of being offended. I talk with Mark about this a lot, about how like you have two sides of the argument and both sides are being you only hear the most extreme sides, right? So it's like on one end you have the people who are like, we should say whatever the hell we feel like it, and if someone gets offended, well, go fuck yourselves, right? That's one end, right? And the other end that's just as extreme is like the outrage culture, which is, no guys, our feelings are really important, and I really identify with the word stupid, and I would appreciate it if you didn't say stupid around me, right? And you're like, well, okay. So you have these really, really loud people from both sides screaming over the middle section, and the rest of us are just like, man, I don't know if I really give a fuck about this, but it definitely stews up into a huge like stir, right? Like with the stuff that we've been seeing with PewDiePie, right? Like the thing where he makes a Nazi joke and people take it out of context or something. I don't actually know what the context of it was, but some people have told me that it was taken out of context and people want to outrage about that. Or people say, you know,
yeah, and the thing is, it's like this is the kind of stuff that has real ramifications. Especially like when PewDiePie did that Nazi joke at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah,
it was like February, right? Was it like February, March?
I don't remember.
It's like February. When you threw that out there, if anyone who's a content creator on YouTube can let you know, all the ad people behind the scenes, people who like paid for ads on YouTube, kind of left the ship. They were just like, well, we don't want to be associated with anything along these lines.
Yeah.
And everyone on YouTube just made like terrible CPM, terrible money for like all the months leading up till now. Even now, you're still getting like some of the waves from the earlier parts.
Right. Well, if we want to get off this topic, we can always talk about anime.
The easy segue, man.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is one of those topics that at any point could be, you say something dumb for like a split second, get clipped.
Yeah. Okay. We're cutting this. We're approaching new topic. Topic number 2. What do you want to go with?
I don't know. I've been watching this anime called Made in Abyss.
Oh my god. Okay, keep going. Yeah,
And this last
let me know
episode,
when you're done. Yep.
This last episode was fucked up. Yep. Straight up. It was.
I'm listening. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. Keep going.
That's pretty much it. It's really crazy.
The worst thing is you can't say it.
I don't want to spoil it because
The only thing you can say is it was crazy. You should watch.
Yeah. Just like don't eat while you're watching it. Oh man, it just like comes out of nowhere and you feel it like so. Made in Abyss is like this kind of like, oh, it's about kids going on an adventure, and then the adventure catches up to them in this episode, and you're just like, oh god, oh no. I mean,
right.
We watched it on my stream, and we were kind of saying it was just like, it was like a Dark Souls moment. It was just like, wake up, motherfucker, you know.
Whew. I like that. There's a lot of those types of like anime's not afraid to go really dark sometimes.
Yeah. Well, so
I think that's great.
So it's a lot of people have been saying it in chat. It's very Madoka-esque, right? Everyone talks about whenever you think it's gonna be cute and fluffy, and then turns out it's really dark. We associate that with Madoka, and yeah, I appreciate animes that do that because it's if it's done well, you never see it coming. And you're just like, oh my god, what the fuck happened here? Who hurt you?
Oh, I actually still haven't seen Madoka, and
oh really?
Yeah, Lily's always like, you gotta watch it. It's my favorite anime. Please watch it, but I don't listen to her because she wants me to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, like apparently playing piano.
Okay, that was my own thing.
Oh
she
yeah,
didn't
sure.
Tell me.
Yeah, you think it's your idea.
For people who don't know, recently I was just like, I've been on a search. How do I find myself? And by find myself, I mean find cool stuff to do. So, purchase Guilty Gear and Tekken, and fighting stick. I want to play fighting games. So last week I put in like 15 hours into playing Tekken, which by the way now I'm just good enough to see just how bad I am. Like I'm at that level where like, oh, I understand some things. I understand the stuff I'm missing, and it's like an abyss. Like it's a goal. It's a goal from me being like, I'm not a new player, but I'm a player who understands just how bad I am. And then after recently I got a piano, and I was just like, I'm gonna wing it. I don't know anything about music theory at all.
Yeah.
So I bought like piano exercises, a piano book, and I've just been grinding away at piano ever since last night. And I've just been literally on the piano going like, okay, what key is A? Find all the A keys on the piano. All right, what key is C? All right, where's the middle C? Okay, this is where I leave my right hand. And I have to like go through the book and start drawing.
Have you never learned any music at all? Like you don't know how to read music?
I don't know how to read music. And the thing is, I used to play like piano and I used to play drums, but I don't remember anything at all. And so I'm literally going to Lily and being like, Lily, do I need to know anything before I learn this? And she's just like, okay, Scarra. And it's like, did you read all this? I'm like, yes, I read all this. She's like, oh, really? Show me all the C's on the keyboard. And I'm just like, shit, it's a test. This one and that one. She's like, okay, yes. Now not all the G's. And I'm just like going like that. She's like, okay, this is really good. Now practice every day for a year, and you'll be good. And I'll just be like, every day for a year. Yeah. I'm doing it. I'm gonna become that great piano player.
I was gonna say we could team up and we could be like the budget version of Albert and
Lily.
Yeah, and Lily, but it'd be a buy one get one free sale because you're free.
What? Holy shit! Come on. Okay, I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm so bad. Like I'm like still trying to read the notes, and it's like okay, now write the note that it is in the scale, and I have to go back into earlier parts of the book and be like, shit, was that a D? Oh, that was a D. I'm like that bad at music theory. I have nothing right now. I'm starting from the ground up.
Well, we'll come back to you in a year and we'll see how you're doing.
Give it like 10. Give
10
it,
years.
I even and the worst thing is someone recommended I look at some guy playing for like inspiration. I looked at this one anime music player called Animens, and he played the opening or one of the songs of Tokyo Ghoul, and he's just phenomenal at it. Like his piano version has more views than the actual trailer.
Oh yeah,
he's at like 30 million views. And I looked at them play, and I'm just like, I will never be this good ever. And Lily comes in while I'm watching, and because she just told me in a year, Scarra, you can be okay. And she watches me like listen to that. And she's like, okay, maybe not a year for that, maybe like multiple years, a lot of time.
I mean, if you've never played any instrument ever, yeah, it'll take a while. Cause like, you know, I played violin all my life, and when I moved to guitar, it didn't take me super long to get to a reasonable state with guitar. But since you're starting out fresh, we'll see how it goes, man.
Yeah. I gotta show that I'm dedicated enough, but I'm dedicated. I've got that. I play League 9 hours a day every day. I've got that dedicated. I can grind.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe me. All right. Let's move on to the most important thing. Right. A lot of people may come to this chat and may understand Josh only loves 2 things in the world: Magic the Gathering and anime. And surprisingly, every single time we talk...
And Melee. You forgot Melee.
3 things. My apologies. Every time we talk on the pre-show, one of the 3 things has to come up. Just so happens today, something big happened with Magic the Gathering. And as a person... Or recently, as a person who plays a lot of TCGs, like a ton of TCGs, I've gone through probably 20-plus trading card games of every different type since I was small. And I always go back to Magic the Gathering as the one that's the best.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. It's just great. Like, I like some of the aspects of Yu-Gi-Oh!, some of the aspects of Pokemon, some of the aspects of, like, Hearthstone. In the end, Magic's God, except for in one area, which is the online area.
Yeah, so when we talk about Magic, like you said, as far as all, like, playing card games go, right, Magic has always stood the test of time. It is the longest-running card game, collectible card game that I know of. It's been running since the early 90s. I think 91, 92, something like that. So it's the longest running. It does super well. Apparently sales are booming. But like you said, the one component of it that has always been ass is the online component. Right. And so they had this thing. They have this program called, a lot of people call it Modo, Magic Online. I don't know where Modo, what does Modo stand for? Magic on Demand Online or something?
It was like the older term before they switched to the client, which is... Anyways, the client is god-awful. It's like something where if you went back 20 years, it looks like someone built the client from like that infrastructure.
Yeah. It literally looks like, you know, one of those early Macintosh computer programs, and like the interface looks all ugly. It's like, hard to find things. You're
going from like GeoCities pages up a step, and you hit Magic the Gathering Online.
Magic Online with digital objects is apparently what Modo is called.
Oh Jesus!
So, anyways, terrible name, terrible program. But recently at the Hasbro Con, which Hasbro is the owner of Wizards of the Coast.
I'm surprised this was even a thing, by the way.
I had no idea. Yeah, what does Hasbro even have? I think they have Magic. They have
toys.
Oh, that's right. And well, what's that like big? I don't actually know anything about this.
I don't know anything about Hasbro. Anyways, they're the parent company of Wizards of the Coast.
And they held a con, and they had a big announcement about this thing called about Magic Arena. And basically, what it looks like to me is like a direct competitor to Hearthstone, where they want it to be, you know, flashy and cool. And here's the thing: is that there have been programs for Magic the Gathering that do look better. You know, there's Duels Online, which is on Steam.
It's actually pretty good, yeah.
They've released other things like something of the Planeswalkers or something like that. Fate of the something like that. In any case, it seems like they want to buckle down and actually be like, hey, here's a new program, new client, and you're going to be able to do a lot of things that you can do on Modo. And you know, one of the things that I'm super excited about is the draft component of it. They say it's free to play as well, which, you know, we'll see what free to play means, because free to play in 2017 can mean all sorts of different things.
Nice prank.
Fire Emblem Heroes is a free game, but
It's actually hilarious that mobile games, like the average spender in a mobile game is insane. I think.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so they had a big list. I think it was back in 2015. They had a list of the top selling mobile games ever.
Yeah.
And during the year, it was Game of War and then like Summer's War. Game of War is a game that's entirely only known for because of the fact that
commercials.
The commercial with that one girl, I don't remember.
Mariah Carey, right? She was on there too.
It was that.
They've hired a bunch of different famous people.
Have
for
they?
It. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like they
so
have.
They're famous for the commercial. Anyways, the average spending user was like $500, $300 to $500, and the same thing was for Summoner's War. Like if you were
Kate Upton, that's right.
Yeah,
that's the main one.
If you were a paying player on those games, you paid like disgusting amounts.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I do it all the time with not Fate Grand Order, Fire Emblem Heroes. Like a new set of heroes comes out, and you're like, oh fuck, I really want these heroes. And then you're like, yeah, what could $20 do? You know? And then you run out of those, whatever the currency is, and you're like. And that's how the addiction starts.
This is the sucker for gacha games right here, man.
Wait, hold up 1 second. I know people who are way worse. That's a justification
for all people like this man right here.
I'm really not that bad about it. I know a couple of my friends who are really into like the Idolmaster gacha game. Where you play like a rhythm game or whatever.
Jesus.
And literally spending hundreds of dollars, going crazy on it. I'm poor, man. I don't have the money to go ahead and do that stuff.
Where's the tweets that were live, bros?
Oh, we had production issues at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I forgot.
I don't know where your bracket went for your tripod. I looked in your room.
I assume that we left it. No, I don't think it's in my room. Because remember, you brought the tripods up?
I brought that. That's right.
We brought. So either it's left in your car, which I doubt, or most likely left it at Scarra's.
It's also very possible.
Very possible.
Okay, I'm tweeting right now. Anyways, I'm hoping the new Magic Online, this thing doesn't suck.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't
Please,
suck. I signed
God.
up for the closed beta, so we'll see how it does.
I don't want it to suck like COG sucked today.
Oh, baby.
I'm gonna go stream anime now.
I didn't say anything. What are you talking about? All right.
Watch Made in Abyss. It's great.
All right. Good?
Yeah, well, I have to tweet too, because usually I just quote retweet you. But now
Right. Okay. Let me just make sure I got the doc ready for when we just go into these games and we just start talking about just how good these teams are.
This was one of the ugliest third, fourth place matches for Worlds I think I've ever seen.
It's really bad.
Yeah, it was a rough.
It got to the point where you're just like, you know what? Who else can we send?
I guess, is there another option? Like,
Josh came in, he's like, we can adopt KT. We just send them. I'm just like,
what is Envy up to right now? Like, put Darshan on Envy. Let's go.
All right. Anyways, I'll make the introduction while he's doing this. Welcome to the Greatest League Talkshow. We're an analysis show about the NA LCS, but we do a bunch of other league analysis as well. I'm one of the main hosts, Scarra. I've already done my intro, so I'm skipping that. With me is Mark Zimmerman. He is a long-standing analyst on the NA LCS desk. He used to coach at Team Liquid. He used to coach at Team Curse, which is the predecessors to Team Liquid. And then he used to be an analyst for them as well. And he does a bunch of other stuff. So this is
He's bad at multitasking. Otherwise, he would have been able to intro himself while tweeting out the link.
Also true. So he's just a man in the scene, I would like to say.
I am a man, and I'm in the scene.
Perfect introduction. Anyways, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be talking about the Gauntlet run, very briefly covering the other games. So really focusing on the C9 versus CLG series, where winner went to Worlds. Spoiler, it's C9. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about the week before. So what do you want to do?
Why don't we go something along the lines of like Boston, real quickly, into Gauntlet run.
I will warn you, I only rewatched the third, fourth place match, most of it, and I was just like, this is atrocious.
Wait, you didn't watch the finals?
No.
What were you doing on Sunday?
I was still at PAX. I was doing a panel for ESPN about journalism in esports.
What do you know about that?
Exactly.
You worked for the school for like 6 months.
Literally, I went in and Richard Lewis was just like, I don't want to offend you, but I don't consider you a journalist. I'm like, no offense taken, dude.
Yeah, that's like, I don't consider you a pro gamer, Richard. Like,
So, but like, yeah, I was doing that as well as like some other stuff on Sunday. Dude, come on, man. You don't gotta slam me on my own show.
I'm just
Go to your
saying.
other show, League Weekly, and then slam me. Come on.
All right, yeah, that'll be on next. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's the most important match of the year, and you didn't watch it or rewatch it. Mr. CLG Faith Boner.
What? I'm not gonna say anything. All I'm gonna say is, I only saw the fourth game from the
finals.
Yeah, because I watched it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is great. We're going to a game 5 for Immortals, and then as I close the phone, I'm literally in line to sign stuff for fans. I'm doing my meet and greet, and the meet and greet's over, and I open up my phone, and I'm like, wait, they lost.
The fourth, or whatever, the finals we'll get into in a second. Third, fourth place match, literally useless to watch. Dig is in full collapse mode. They're losing to everybody.
It's awful.
If you lock in champions against them, you will win.
What?
CLG was able to lock in champions, therefore they 3-0'd them.
I want to say I disagree, but honestly,
They look so bad.
they look like they got paid off a little bit.
Yeah, they pushed their chips in. They wanted out. They didn't care what the cut was.
All right, finals.
So finals, TSM won that in the 3-1. They went up 2-0, lost the third game, and then Immortals should have won the fourth game. But through this series was just, it doesn't, that combined with this one that just happened today, don't make you feel too good about NA at Worlds. And I know some people were like, oh, it's dumb to look at just the finals in a big venue where people are playing to justify how they're going to play, you know, like a month from now. But all season long, it didn't feel like anyone was like super dominant or like super good.
I mean, if anything, I think they're great ways to talk about it because you know that's the base level that they start at. You know, when all the teams go to China to practice, this is the base level of teams going in.
And it's not high.
Yeah, it's
like,
not great.
Well, I told Parth, I was like, I think your team is more well-rounded than last year in the sense that they can play more styles. Like, Bjergsen would not have played Galio.
Or Cassidy.
Or, champions like that last year.
I completely agree.
But they are also worse at all the styles that they play than they were at their, like, smash lane, smash game style.
Oh, we're talking like a year ago, right?
Yeah. So, like, heading into Worlds a year ago and this year, I said, you're more diverse this year, but you're also just worse.
True. I think Sven's gotten better, actually, over the course of between this year and last year. But for the most part, stylistically and how they play together, I agree.
That's what I mean, though. It's like Sven on lead last year is way better than Sven on anything now. But he can play more shit now.
Yeah.
And like Bjergsen is not just on Syndra or something. Like he will play the more supportive style stuff, but it's just like that's great.
I think it's because last year they did they choked. They didn't perform as well as you'd expect. Even though the group ended up being harder than you'd expect after it happened. Just for the most part, I thought they played relatively poor outside of when Sven got lead. Right?
Yeah, I would agree. I thought,
And I think this year I am more optimistic about their performance because I think I don't know. I think that last year, yes, they had specific style, but it was they just played really bad.
Yeah, they didn't play their style well necessarily. Like they would get some leads, but then they would play really bad. They were not nearly as big a leads as they were used to getting in North America, so they couldn't play out the 15 to 25 minute mark.
And from what I recall, I remember their bot lane smashing everyone on the way to Worlds.
Oh yeah, and they could not do that at all.
Yeah, and here it's they were playing actually pretty bad up until playoffs. And then Biofrost just goes monster. And I think that Doublelift's been playing better, but he started at a really low point comparatively to last year.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I have talked to coaches in North America. I've talked to players. No one thinks that they're playing at a high level right now. Whereas last year, people went into Worlds with actual hype. So I don't know. Doublelift in an interview with Travis was I thought we played dog shit. Reggie was freaking out about it. I know multiple people were freaking out on multiple teams.
That's some encouraging thoughts to think about.
I mean, I'm just setting expectations because if we get out of groups and we do decently, then great. I'm not saying that.
I'm hoping for just top 8.
Right. If we make top 8, I'm happy.
Yep.
And it's the kind of thing where it's heavily dependent on group draw. So I could say, I think NA's in trouble this Worlds, but then suddenly Immortals is in a no Korean group. There's one group every year that has no Koreans in it. Maybe they perform well and they get out.
And then TSM's in like the group of death.
Yeah, and it's like, well, that's unfortunate. So, if we get, I would say it's like 50-50 we get out of groups and pretty dependent on group draw. So we'll see, because that will be on Tuesday morning.
Oh, is it? I thought it was Wednesday. It's Tuesday morning?
It's Tuesday morning at 5. I thought it was Wednesday too. It was Tuesday.
5?
5 a.m.
What? I'm sorry, North America.
I'm sure all you guys are going to wake up for that.
North America isn't the main region. I'm sorry. You're right. 5? What am I thinking? Why 5?
Because it's in China, I think, or I don't know.
Oh, did they group draw in China?
Well, so we're broadcasting it out of here, but it's for the Chinese market to be able to watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like a bunch of people are here to watch to do it, but it's not for people in just North America.
Right. It makes more sense because China's the biggest audience, and China's gonna be at Worlds.
It's 8 a.m. Eastern Standard
Time.
Right.
Anyways, I will definitely
2 p.m.
I'll definitely not wake up for it, but we'll talk about it the day of, right?
Yeah, I think because we're also doing the thing with offline TV.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if you're gonna stream in the morning. Yeah.
I might as well just stream in the morning,
and I'll come by at some point.
And then we'll just talk about it, and then
we'll go.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so back on topic.
This is how business talks work, by the way.
Yeah. You just say yeah a bunch.
Yeah. We got it.
Yeah. That said, anyways, the finals, since you didn't watch it, it was basically Cody Sun made a bunch of mistakes, got caught out a fair amount. Ole was decent. Pobelter had some mistakes. And they were able to win a lot of early games on Immortals, but they could not play better in the late game and made some big mistakes around Baron and around like inhibs and stuff like that. Biofrost had a great series. He picked up player of the series.
Yeah, and I kind of heard similar stuff to that because we had Pobelter on BTR the week after.
Oh, yeah?
And he was talking about how, like, we learned that, like, in late game situations, we're not really that good, and we need to really respect, like, teams' initiations more, especially, like, Rakan. And so, which, by the way, funny enough, Rakan is slowly just kind of creeped into best support.
It can build Ardent Sensor and initiate. Wow, that
disgustingly hard.
Yeah, so like for me, Rakan was always good, and people just stopped liking it because the R/W interaction has always been there.
Yeah, it's completely.
And that's what makes him strong. As long as he doesn't get shit on in lane, that mechanic is ridiculous, and people just stop playing it for some reason.
That's how I feel about Syndra a lot of times.
Yeah, like Syndra
literally leaves the meta for months. She comes back around Worlds, and everyone's like, why did she leave?
That's the old Ori problem. For a while, people would just never play Ori, and then Worlds comes around, she's top tier. Contested pick. Gragas was the same way when he was an AP mid laner. People just like wouldn't touch Gragas. And it was like,
he's broken.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we're
moving on to the gauntlet.
With Boston, we're going to the gauntlet.
Fly Dig.
Dig looked pretty bad.
Once again, the
Fly
whole
looked better.
So the whole you have to lock in a champion to beat Dig still applied.
I don't know about that much, but I know what you mean. I think the biggest thing is it's like, look, you see Dig in their pre-playoff form as they're coming into playoffs.
Pre-playoff form and even round 1 versus C9, and even a little bit versus TSM. They looked reasonable.
You're just like, oh wow, what really changed up? Well, one, Sunday's still great, and he still is great.
But now their bot lane's
their bot lane's good too. Like their bot lane's really got it going. And then you just see
Keen's consistent all of a sudden.
Yeah, and then Shrimp's like not dying all the time. And then you just see the games following that. You're just like, Shrimp died in like the most random spots. Their bot lane's just getting like slammed.
And now instead of picking Maokai and shitting on C9, they're picking Jace and Gnar and just building full split push. And you're like, this team has lost all confidence in each other.
Yeah,
you can feel that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it got super bad. FlyQuest came in. We haven't seen them in 4 weeks, I think.
Yep, they had a good game plan, I think.
Yeah, they had a really solid game plan. I think Moon has kind of been somewhat like a slept-on jungler. I think he's relatively been one of the only people carrying FlyQuest a lot of times in most of their games.
And it felt like their bot lane struggled, not necessarily Turtle specific, but at least him and Lemon together were struggling. But Lemon picked up Rakan, which is really not what you think as a Lemon Nation champion. But he played it pretty well, and Turtle popped off.
Yeah, Turtle's just going nuts in the gauntlet. Like, all the series I thought he played, Turtle was actually playing really well.
Yeah, so all those things combined together, good game plan, good champion picks, some individual members stepping up, leads to a smash of Dignitas.
So we go into the next series, FlyQuest for CLG.
This one was weird. just because CLG lost a game with like probably the ugliest comp I've seen all year.
Oh, the one that they tried the Fiora mid. Oh.
It's not just the Fiora mid. It's Fiora mid with Dr. Muno, Sejuani, Thresh, and Lucian. It's like
they tried to flex too hard.
It's like they tried to flex too hard and just like, what does your comp do? I don't even get it.
I understand what the comp does. But the problem is the comp needs to get off the floor. Like it needs to get to like the 1.5 items, and like they start the 1-3-1. The problem is CLG has shown this split they suck at 1-3-1.
Yeah, they're not good at 1-3-1ing. They want a team fight. They're picking this 1-3-1 comp into a team that is renowned for brute forcing objectives horribly, and you're picking a team that doesn't want to contest those. And the team comp FlyQuest had was perfect into their like no range comp because it's AP Kennen, Twitch, Galio, J4.
Yeah, no one's killing Twitch ever.
Yeah, so like J4, Galio were the two critical picks in the Dignitas series for FlyQuest. CLG says, you can have your best shit, we'll beat you with this crazy flex strategy, and it goes as wrong as possible.
And that's a series where I was like, oh, you know, I think Stixay just had, like Stixay and Afro like weren't playing great that series. I think maybe this series, was it that series?
Well, you said this series, and that made me make a face because Stixay.
No, this series, Stixay played terribly. Up until the last game,
yeah.
I thought he played super bad. But in the last series with FlyQuest,
he was okay.
They didn't play that well either.
Yeah, he was okay at best. Afro was fine, I think. And that's kind of been the story a lot recently, where Afro feels like he's doing all right, but Stixay is not.
Yeah, and I don't know how much like hate to throw at Afro because I think that he's had an up and down season. Actually, a lot of times where you're just like, what is he doing? He's getting caught in random positions. Like in this situation, and reversely, he's playing Alistar getting great picks or great initiations for his team.
Yeah, his initiations look great. He's struggled a lot in lane phase in recent splits. And that wasn't really true in the FlyQuest series for Afro, though Stixay was struggling. And Game 4, they absolutely destroyed FlyQuest bot lane, and a lot of the times they were going relatively even, but it was kind of like whatever, because it felt like it was mostly on having a real comp. Because after that first game, they just picked like standard CLG stuff.
But the problems they had in that series, their inability to split push, even with like these wonky champions, is something they should have known. And coming into the series today, they did again.
Yeah, though I have to admit, it didn't feel like a split push problem as much as what the 4-man core or 3-man people do.
No, 100%. From what I understand, CLG used to be the team that split pushed the best in the league, or one of the best. And then ever since they got Dardoch, and like this year started around with Dardoch and Omar. Omar I can understand. Dardoch I can kind of understand. They've never been really good at being able to do like a 4 and a 1.
Yeah.
The 1 maybe like the 1 doesn't trust the 4 and always tries to like start flanking like before the 1's even at the enemy tower, he just starts leaving and trying to collapse.
Yeah, and sometimes you're like, why is he doing that? And then sometimes you get what happened today, where like the 4-man just keeps dying and stuff.
Yeah, and that's not the split push's fault. It's just a team problem.
Yeah. So anyways, the way that the CLG Fly series ends is, for the most part, FlyQuest just can't hold up individually. The only person who seems like he's stepping up is Turtle, and even then, the 4th game that they lose, he gets destroyed in laning phase off some great hooks and some Caitlyn play. And CLG advances to the Gauntlet Finals. Winner moves on to Worlds Play-In Stage.
And this is a series where the first 2 games make it look like CLG is just going to get 3-0'd. They pull it back. They win 1 game, go into the 4th game, and then they did lose on the 4th game, right? It just took a long ass time.
Well, that's why we're here.
Yeah, okay. No, because I thought it might have been the 5th, but no, it just took a super long time.
Yeah.
So they lost the 4th game. It's 3-1 for C9 in a way that, like we said earlier, you're not super happy about if you're a fan of either team.
Yeah, as a fan of NA, fan of either team. I'm sure C9, you got to be a little happy, like, hey, we made it. We have a month, like 2.5 weeks to prepare now because play-in stage is the 23rd. So you have about 2 weeks to get ready. And you're like, all right, let's just try and get as good as we can. But it's a long road for them, I think. So let's start off in game 1. So the cool thing in game 1 was C9 busted out that new Nidalee build for the jungler, where you go Ardent Sensor Nidalee, and you kind of become more supportish in the late game than like AP threat.
Well, there's another new Nidalee build. So when you said that, I was thinking the Triforce build that's been showing up like somewhat recently.
Wait, which one's newer? I thought the Ardent Sensor.
Oh, was the Ardent Sensor the newest one? I saw the Triforce build in solo queue like a week or two ago.
I thought the Ardent Sensor and Athene's was newer. Because that's when people go now, is they go jungle item, Athene's, Ardent.
Yeah,
I don't know which one's newer. Yeah.
Regardless, new build came out, Nidalee came out. Surprising to see a Nidalee, actually.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It does do really good in individual matchups against the tank junglers.
Oh, it does great against tank junglers.
It's just, you get to 15 minutes and it gets so outperformed.
Right, and I think the story of the entire series for me, from the jungle perspective, is Omar is in the right place at the right time, but the problem is he skips camps to do it.
I was about to say, I wasn't sure if I'd say right place at the right time. He's at the right place.
He's at the right place
for too long,
or like too quickly. You know?
Yeah.
For what it sounds like, as a jungler, you have to have a voice. So if your team calls you down, like, look, I need your help here. You know, you should like be like, okay, well, let me finish doing this camp and like make my way down there. But what he does is he just runs down there completely straight. And so, when you look at other top junglers and junglers like I would say Xmithy does this really well, where he gives up his camps to be at certain places at the right time, but he doesn't have such a huge loss in CS.
Right, and this is the kind of thing where it's very visible in junglers without a ton of confidence, or like where they get brought into a team and they're the young one.
Yeah, and they have to listen to like all the calls. Like Omar is straight up losing so much farm because.
And it's his fault. It is still his fault, because you need to tell your team, no, I'm going to get my Raptors. They're spawning in 10 seconds. I'll be there after that. And it doesn't feel like he does that. And as a result, pretty much every game, Contracts has a monster CS lead. And especially in game 1, he gets a huge CS lead. But what's funny is he keeps dying in his invades.
Oh, God. Okay, so the first game, Nidalee comp for C9. Contracts just dies. Like, non-stop invading, just he accrues a 60 CS lead, but he dies twice by 12 minutes.
And their deaths were like, if he played it well, he might have been able to get out. Like the first one, maybe not. He's on Krugs, he gets collapsed on, kind of gets chain CC'd up, but he still loses his flash when it was like he was 100% dead. The second time, he gets hooked by Afro. He tries to pounce out. He gets flayed out of his pounce, as opposed to just flashing and then pouncing, so he ends up dying. Some small misplays, but it's more of a problem of being in the wrong place.
Right, and the MVP for this game for me was just Impact played a ridiculous game.
He was good.
Like, this is the type of guy where, yes, because your jungler just like straight up died to the enemy top laner, Darshan.
Holy.
That's a throwback. Darshan got a counter pick top lane, Nara to Maokai. Great counter pick, by the way, really good tank killer. But then what ends up happening is, even with First Blood, red buff, he is behind CS at 10 minutes to Maokai.
Yeah, so he's actually not building much of a lead, and that's fine because Gnar is still a good team fighter if you're in Mega Gnar when you take them. But the thing is, Maokai's so reliable at all points in the game, and so you just wait for Mega Gnar to go mini, and then you pull the trigger with Maokai, and that's kind of what happened.
Well, it's like, I understand what he did. He burst item Merc Treads because he's super scared of the gank.
Well, yeah, so Nidalee Maokai is like the oldest, like, fuck up your top laner combo.
Right, it's like almost as bad as Renekton Elise, but not, like, just under that
Yeah,
level,
the old things are Renekton Elise, Eve Maokai was brutal, and then Nidalee Maokai.
But I think that at some point, he needed to start applying split push pressure. Because that's the way you win this matchup. You start splitting, cool, and then the Maokai gets dragged away, and he can't do the let's Righteous Glory up mid lane and then kill this guy.
Yeah.
But he never actually got into a split push position. And this is like the story of COG's, all COG split push comps, is they can never split push.
Never works. Also, Caitlyn, despite getting first turret, I think.
First tower, 20, like... 15, 20 CS lead.
Yeah, when mid-game starts rolling around, the story completely flips, and it's Tristana taking like a ton of turrets. So C9, without actually killing that many people, start getting like 3 turrets. And
in a situation where I definitely think that's just completely CLG's fault.
Yeah.
Unable to find anything to do after they break the first tower. Was this the game where they started hard trading the entire game?
This is not that one. No. That's I think game 2 or
this
something.
Is where they just conceded everything.
Yeah, they just start losing stuff. Like, just Sneaky would run up and take a turret. That happened a couple times, and then C9 starts brute forcing around Baron. They give up, I think it's an Infernal Dragon to get complete control of Baron, and then they force around there, and CLG walk up, C9 pull the trigger, and they get a 3-for-1.
And the worst thing is, on the walk up, Sneaky just missteps out of the bush, and you're like, oh, they're there. Cool.
Yeah.
And they CLG leaves, and they come back like 10 seconds later. Omar frontlines, face checks it, and then dies, and then they get swept up.
Yeah, I think it's Omar flashes in, resets the Ori ball. Oriole hits almost nobody. A lot of problems in that team fight. The one thing was C9 didn't get any objectives off of it, despite the fact they just got a 3-for-1 because Nidalee died. So they reset, and then they just force around Baron again. And then this time they get, I think, a 5. It might be an ace or like a 4 for something.
I think it's a 3-for-0 with Maokai just righteous glory.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Maokai, you have mini Gnar, he just righteous glory W's the Gnar and chunks him out before he can get mega stacks.
Yeah, so like for me, CLG gave up too much with their early game lead. They have Caitlyn, right? They should be like blowing Trist apart. A lot of people were critiquing the Caitlyn pick. Do you hate it that much? I thought it was a great counter pick to lane, and it makes sense in the comp.
I think it's fine. It's just you need to play around it correctly. And they didn't. They need, like, their mid game was way too weak in terms of like pressure, because like you should have the Gnar pushing in, the Caitlyn should be pushing in somewhere with the Ori, and it didn't feel like they ever set that up.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me. I thought they just played their comp wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's fair to criticize both teams for, in terms of the Nidalee is supposed to get this monster lead. It doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't. He gets a monster lead, but a lot of that's just because like Omar plays it bad.
Yeah, Omar plays it bad. I mean, you have Syndra and Nidalee for a lane gang setup. Contracts can't find a kill. He gets the CS lead, but hands kills back over. So you would say like, oh, this shouldn't have worked for C9. But
yeah, and overall, I'm like impressed with who he plays a lot of these lanes. In this matchup before, he used to get slammed as the Ori player, and he got like the first gank, and he was able to hold on to like a minor CS lead. That was like, wow, he played this game really well.
So like CLG's game plan with their jungler was like camp mid, so who he does fine, and that was actually smart. But it was just like, they didn't do anything once that worked.
Right.
And the only thing I'll throw in here is just that Rakan for Smoothie does well after they get out of laning phase.
Really well.
Really well. And it's going to be a little bit of a problem this series as we move into Game 2.
Okay. Going to Game 2.
Jax.
Yes. So, I actually don't mind this pick. I mind how they picked it.
Just randomly in the first phase.
Randomly first phase before they've shown their top laner. They know that Jarvan can flex. They should know that he's just going to get Jax counter pick, but he doesn't care. Because I think
he thinks Impacts only plays tanks, which is true.
Yeah, which works out, but you're just like, this is kind of like a super greedy pick. And it works great though. Like it starts off really well for CLG.
Right, so I have a hard time saying I hate it too much, just because Impact's not going to counter pick it. He's going to play a tank for the most part. It's just like I would have liked to see it maybe a little later, where you can hopefully find something else that's going to work. Once you see more of the enemy team comp.
I think he was worried that they would ban Jax in the second rotation, because he's shown he'll play it into Jarvan top. But then he still has Camille, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it got banned. It didn't get banned.
And there were no top lane bans at his Jax at all over the course of this series.
Right.
So.
And so this is another situation where they had the split push comp, and then
They camp top pretty hard.
Yes, and I thought they did. This is a game where I'm like, oh, Omar did a good job. Outside the first dive at level 3,
yeah, they played that pretty bad.
That was like you're not killing a Shen. Like,
if you play that perfectly and Impact makes a small mistake, you can find that kill. Because like the way it works is like you charge your leap strike, and your leap strike has to be the first bit of damage you deal, and then you chain CC him. So you get the stun, you get the Sejuani knock up auto attack with auto attack reset, and then you can get the E-proc stun from Sejuani, and you might be able to 100 to 0 him. It's tough.
If he doesn't get like the W off while you're like counter strikes in the air, or he doesn't he just messes up his W timing, or he taunts incorrectly. Yeah, he like hits the wrong target. It's like. They have to play it perfectly, and the person
he has to mess one thing up, and that didn't happen. So the Shen lives. They lose a lot of summoners, but it is a situation where he's losing CS, and then the wave comes back after that, and Omar God goes back top, and this is the best example of what Scarra was talking about. Where like he's in the right place for the play, but he waits way too long for it. So he sits top lane in River Brush for like 45 seconds to kill the Shen. And it fucks the Shen.
Oh, yeah. Like, this Shen is out of the game. But you're looking at all these level discrepancies in the jungle matchups in all these games. You're just like, oh, a Jarvan versus a Sedge. I know what farms the jungle faster. It's the Sedge, by the way. The Jarvan is the one who, like, takes the buffs, tries to get a gank off, and then desperately is just like, how do I farm?
Yeah.
But in this situation, it looks like Context is playing the farm jungler.
Well, and he's not even as far ahead as he would be because, yeah, he's on Jarvan. So he's like 20 CS up versus like 40 if he was able to take more of like Omar God's camps. Either way, I would still say like sitting top there and destroying the Shen for your Jax is worth it because that's your win condition. It just came at a higher price than was needed.
Yeah, it would have been completely okay if COG's bot lane was doing okay, which they weren't. They were behind like 20 CS.
Yeah, there was pretty much equal discrepancy down the bot side. Now, luckily, it's not as important because that's not like their big win condition. Really, it's just about the fact that you have to be able to do the 4-1 properly. Because as long as the Jack's the head and your mid core is relatively strong, you're okay. And who he picked, Victor, perfect pick for this situation. And he actually had a phenomenal game.
Yeah, he played really well. He played the mid matchup, which is, by the way, very hard.
Yep.
He evened out the mid matchup early, and then he had great presence throughout the game. And it just so happened that like they don't know how to split push. That's just it. Yeah. Usually, the thing about Darshan's item build is he either goes Frozen Mallet to team fight, or he goes Titanic to split push. That's the usual Jax build.
Well, most people don't even go Frozen Mallet. They just go Titanic no matter what.
Right. So, which is kind of weird, but
I like it not too much. I like it a lot.
I mean, I love Titanic, but he almost always defaults Mallet.
Right.
After Tri-Horde,
yeah.
Which is weird, but that's for a team fight. I kind of understand. This game, he went split push Titanic, and I was like, oh, this is great. I get to see finally Jax in action. And what does he do? Just like slaps Impact, on the side lane. And it's great. And then he just starts.
It gets to the point where they can't even put Impact in the side lane more, and Sneaky starts picking up the side lane farm.
Right, but it gets to the point where like he goes crazy for split push stuff. He starts getting Bork, which by the way is a situationally bought item. And then after Bork, he goes GA, and you're just like, wait.
So
at some point, like you probably should have just went like your Mallet. Because that's the normal 3-item build on Jax actually has the Mallet and the Titanic.
Yeah, so before we get too far ahead, CLG starts playing around like the top side of the map pretty well with their 4-man core, and they actually win a couple fights to the point where they get Baron buff. And that's when he starts building the Bork. And I'm super down with this because you're winning the game. You're going to split push the game to victory. Your 4-man core has Baron now. Like, everything's going great. And then for some reason, they won 3-1. They have Huhi in the top side, clearing waves with Victor. They have Xayah mid, and then the Xayah just gets engaged on, probably one of the safest champions in the meta, and Stixxay dies. And then Stixxay will die the whole rest of this game right away, start of every fight, with Sums and ult up.
We're not going to talk about the game. We're just talking about the series at this point. I feel like Stixxay had a lot of deaths where you're just like, how did that happen?
This was probably one of Stixxay's worst series.
Yes, and people will remember his last game and be like, wow, he played well. But
no one will remember his last game. Everyone, I swear to God, everyone better remember game 2 because it was so fucking bad.
Yeah, he single-handedly lost this game because this is a game where like, okay, Darshan's doing his job. He built the right item. He's killing his side laner. They got Baron. They're gonna win the game.
Yeah, but
as long as you don't die on Xayah with full sums up.
So he dies mid lane once, and they lose the Baron, and you're like, whatever, all right? Like, it's not the end of the world. And then he dies, like, 2 or 3 more times. And then C9 is able to get a Baron off it. And then C9 engage mid lane, and they kill him again. And it's like, oh my God, they're going to lose the game.
At this point, the Jax, who committed fully to split pushing, you can't team fight with his item build. You will die instantly.
And there's tons of plays going crazy wrong all the time, too. So, like, at another point, CLG's baiting Baron. They have C9 walk up. The fight goes crazy. Everyone splits up. They kill the Jax. Or they kill the Shen, they kill Impact, and rather than like going back to Baron and maybe rebaiting or something, they just instantly re-engage on the Cassio, who gets out, and then they chase them down and kill them, and Sneaky's slowly picking up kills. Jensen's getting fed as well, and then you have like a big-ass Cassio Tristana backline.
Yeah, and then you get this situation where C9 then 3-man dives Stixxay in the bot lane, and then they die for it because Stixxay presses his R button.
Yeah, like finally once,
Yeah, and who
he was sitting in the brush.
Yeah, they get triple killed, and then while COG is about to push to win the game, Darshan pushes too far and gets killed by their bot lane duo, and then Afro, who comes to save them, dies as well. And the game just goes like completely off the rails.
It's awful. This is not like when we keep saying 6A died, it's not like, oh my god, C9 played really well from behind. It's like both teams were playing so bad.
This game should have been CLG's in the bag if they knew how to split push. Similarly to, it's just something where it's like, okay, well, they have problems split pushing, and they should recognize that. Which, to be fair, they did adjust after this game.
They did, but it's the kind of thing where like you can win this game so easily if you just don't have Huhi in the top lane, you're 4-manning, and you just push. Or if 6A plays correctly, you know, like it was a really painful game to watch overall. There was a base race situation to end it where like Jax is trying to end. Huhi's alive. I saw people giving Huhi a lot of shit for dying here. Because it was like
honestly, he's one of the most solid players in the game. Like, making the least amount of dumb mistakes.
He played team fights super well. It's like super, super well for the most part.
And I completely agree. He shouldn't have walked up. He should have walked back to his double Nexus towers.
And defended those.
Yes, but he was trying to stop their backs and be in a position to like harass it, but he didn't have sums. I agree. It wasn't a good position for him to be in. I also think
6A died at the start of another fight with his sums up and all.
This was a situation where they initiated on Afro move, and then they switched to 6A instantly. Just got exploded.
Yeah. So like it was a bad play. I think it's fine to be like, oh damn it, why did he walk up? But I saw in that specific game reaction to it, a lot of people were freaking out at Huhi, and I'm like, dude, Huhi's the reason they had a lead to even throw.
Huhi's literally like the best player on CLG across almost every series they play. You know, I know Darshan won.
Going back into regular season too. Yeah,
I know Darshan won it for like the last series, but really just watch Huhi play. I think he plays almost all the matchups really well now. Even losing matchups, winning matchups, always has great team fight impact. Like pretty good roams, and like for instance, and we'll get to the Talia game later. But like, he was like the reason they even came back in that game.
Yeah, I think his Talia game had some weak moments, but it also had some of the strongest moments of any individual player on the team. Anyways, this game ends, like we said, 6A gets picked again, Afro dies as well, Darshan goes top to try and end in a backdoor situation, and it's Huhi and Omar trying to defend verse 4. Huhi, yes, steps up too far, gets exploded, but it was a fucked up situation anyways where it's really hard to defend 4v2 no matter what.
Yep, that was a situation where regardless with who he did, since he didn't have sums, I think he loses.
Yeah, they're going to flash engage on him.
Yeah, they're just like, the only way he wins that is if C9 messes up. And yes, he was out of position, but CLG just got put in such a bad hole at that point.
Yep, so anyways, CLG lose the second game despite a monster lead.
Third game, CLG says, you know what? Team fighting, that's what real men play. And they decide not to play any split push. They dropped literally the single best ARAM comp possible.
ARAM?
Well, not ARAM, but like run it down mid, like team fight comp.
Like Bat Meatwad, like get down there, dude. Maokai, Alistar, Sejuani, Trist, Ori.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's like a situation where you're like, yeah, they did it. Yeah, they can win fights, but it's like, this is what they have to do to actually be able to win games.
Well, and they also banned Rakan this time because this is, like, last game, one of the big reasons 6A kept dying. And I understand it's very hard to not get hit by the Rakan flash RW, but he was getting hit by everything else, too. So this game, Rakan's out either way, and CLG kicked the game off pretty well. C9 has Xayah, Thresh, Shen, Gragas, Corki. This is also a bad game for Sneaky on Xayah. The first two Xayah games this series looked pretty bad.
Yeah, and this is a game where people are like, wow, dude, C9 should have taken Trist early in the rotation.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know if that's a Trist thing or just like people just sucked at Xayah, like actually.
Until the last game.
Yes. So I don't necessarily know. I know people were like, wow, a lot of people on Twitter were just like, the drafting in this series is weird. And I'm just like, I don't want to say the draft is the reason why people played like garbage this series.
Yeah, I thought this was like most of the drafts you could kind of see where they're coming from. But it was like Xayah is super good. Xayah is really high priority. It just looks bad. Anyway, so what happens? CLG get first blood bottom with a really nice setup by Afro. He starts playing Alistar, which is like probably his signature champion.
Yes. I think he used to be more well known for Morgana, but then I think his Alistar has always been his best champ.
Yep, so they get the first blood, things are going decent, and then this is the game where they just trade objectives like crazy out of nowhere.
This is like a wild situation, and usually what happens against current Shen is when Shen hits 6, you don't want to be bot lane, because you're going to get slammed by the jungler, it's going to be a 4v2 instantly. Before your top lane can get in, or 4v3, even if the other jungler is there. Mm-hmm. So when Shen is 6 and you're the bot lane, you just swap top lane. And hopefully in a way to surprise the enemy top laner. They swapped top lane. After the kills bot, didn't surprise them. Lost 15 CS to tower bot lane. And then they were just like, well, what do we do? It's a standoff. And then everyone does a huge team fight top lane. It trades exactly 1-for-1. And then COG off this resets. It goes back bot lane with the jungler and takes the tower.
And you keep going because it's so funny.
Watch Omar CS during all this. It's so low. Like, this guy's getting dragged around the map so hard. So he makes a level 3 play gank bot lane, right?
That's the first blood,
yeah. No. It's the first gank when he goes behind the back, where they force he makes the early gank bot lane. Okay, it's good. Then he goes back through bot lane,
and that's when he does the flash headbutt pull.
Right, but like, this is good situations, but you have to wonder, like, is he... The CS he's giving up for this, he's like a 20 CS deficit every game.
Yeah, every game. And it's not too bad for CLG. They have, I think, a small lead.
They get first tower, re-swapping back bot.
Yeah.
I think it's okay, you know?
So eventually what happens is there's another big fight in the bot lane. And it's one of like those hilarious fights where like people just show up one at a time. Like, Huhi almost dies, goes back and heals, and then... Darshan goes in to push out the lane. C9 collapse again. They try and kill him. And then Sneaky runs all the way from blue side Wolves to red side bot inner turret to join in this fight. And at the same time, Stixay is near his like Raptors, red side Raptors, and does not move over. He runs top side. And he would have made all the difference in this fight, but he just does not join in at all. This ends up going, I think, 3-for-1 for C9. 6-8 does get a top turret, but it's just like... Well, people are just like running all over the map.
Just in general, before we get to this part, where CLG is trading objectives, but they have the minor lead, right?
Yeah.
Where CLG restomps back top lane with their bot lane, and then 6-8 just dies in the side lane because he doesn't think someone's in the bush.
That was the fourth. Oh no! Wait, no. It was this game. It was the fourth game too.
Yes, where you're just like, oh, Stixay died in a random spot again, and then right as soon as that happens, Huhi steps left to try to join his team, and he gets initiated on by Gragas and Shenalty and dies as well. And so this is kind of how C9 kind of recovered their deficit.
I think they're complaining about the mic. I see everyone popping off about the mic. That is not Josh. Scarra was playing footsies.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was like kicking it on accident.
No, that was not. He was having full on footsies. Is it fine now?
My bad.
Okay. I don't know. I just saw a lot of people talking about the mic out of nowhere.
My bad.
Okay, so yeah, Stixay has a lot of problems just dying all over the place. It was what you were saying, right?
Yeah, this is another good example of it happening, and Huhi died right after, and then Darshan gets picked later in the game mid lane. So it's just like, all these games just feel so bad because you want the team to win, to win with like, because...
They made a good set play or something.
No, because at this level, you expect the execution to be good.
Yeah.
And it's just not. It's all over the place.
No, it's horrible. And like, what ends up happening is like, C9 throw up Baron. I think they pick Darshan near Baron. They take a really long time to get set back up on the Baron without recalling. They finally do, and by the time they try and re-engage onto CLG, who are contesting it, Darshan is alive again and respawns and teleports back in.
And this is a situation where Xayah doesn't have her ulti, so she dies relatively early in the fight.
Yeah, and I think it's decently well played by CLG, just with how much engage tools that they have with the Maokai coming back, the Alistar and Sejuani. Huhi combos together pretty well with Afromu the rest of this game with their headbutt Paul of combos with the Orianna ult. So they start winning a lot of these team fights.
Yep. I think after the Baron, it's just kind of over. And really, like, that Baron fight wouldn't have even happened if they didn't take so long to do the Baron. And because they did, Xayah ults down, Ali plus Ori one-hit the Xayah at the start of the fight, and then they get Baron off of it. And CLG just comes back with the easiest comp to play ever when you get ahead.
Yeah. A lot of champs who can walk under turret and threaten space. That's eventually how they siege down the inhib.
Yes, and as soon as they have like 3 activators for Ori as well, and Triss gets so much space to be able to do damage. So once this comp gets a lead, it's really hard for CLG to like throw.
Mm-hmm. Which brings us to game 4, which had some of the dumbest level 1s you'll ever see.
Oh god, I understand this level 1. Okay, before we get into here, is there anything in the draft that you're like whatever about? One, I don't really like Maokai jungle, but Omar got played it last series, played it this series. I understand it's one of his comfort picks. I don't care.
I'm fine with it. Rek'Sai Janna was a little scary for me for C9 because Galio, Rek'Sai, Janna, or Zaya, really not much engage. And especially with how he ended up building the Rek'Sai as well, not much tankiness.
Oh, I really thought the Janna pick was excellent. Like, super good. It's one of the things...
I was scared because Smoothie's such an important playmaker for the team, and he doesn't really have that. But against Alistar, Maokai, Shen, Janna's excellent.
Yeah. Janna was such a good pick by C9 here. Janna is the one pick you don't want to be picking Alistar into, because she can disengage initiations really well and is essential.
She has 2 tools to interrupt your headbutt Paul combo. She has same tools to interrupt Shen's taunts. You have to flash in, basically, and even then you can still get kind of messed up. Anyways, level 1 happens. CLG walk in on the Rek'Sai to try and harass him. And they do for a really long time. Like, forever.
Yeah. We're talking 2 minutes straight.
Like, it's 3 minutes in the game. The 2 level 1 junglers.
And the worst thing is, I could see where this can feasibly happen. Where mid lane is Taliyah against Ori. Taliyah gets shove pressure on mid lane. Yep. And while you stall out as a jungler, you wait for your mid lane to come in, and your top lane's about even. Even though Galio can shove, he has to be like hold with the other jungler if they're duoing 2v2, and he can't go to the wave and shove. So, okay, that happens. Taliyah's supposed to run in and help. Wait, Taliyah doesn't run in. And then...
When he does run in, he gets chunked by Ori.
Yeah, like he runs in, and it's like not a full commit on the run in. They don't just take red right there. They run back out, and then Maokai's still there trying to get test. And the thing about Maokai's first clear sucks. Like, it's not like Rek'Sai can clear the jungle by himself. Maokai usually needs help.
I mean, he can do it. It's just not pretty.
It's so bad.
It's not pretty, and so what happens is they don't deny the red. Contracts gets that, but he's pretty low, so he has to go back to base. Omar God doesn't go back to base, runs to his blue, starts trying to do it, and right as it's getting down low, Galio Flash Winds of War steals it. And so it's a level 1 Galio with no blue buff, or excuse me, level 1 Maokai, no blue buff, 4 minutes into the game, running to do his Raptors for the first time.
It's ugly. And the worst part about this is it's like... Oh, well, the best part about this is COG is actually able to fight off Rek'Sai invade from red to where, okay, Maokai gets like a somewhat okay like jungle to work with.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where it was a disaster for CLG, but they actually bounced back from it better than I thought they would.
Okay.
Afros is playing decently this game. Like, he's one of the ones who helps contest things. Fuki has a really good game as well.
Yeah, especially, so bot lane, I think in general, both bot lanes did really well in this game. I think both the ADs had their best game this series, or this game of the series. But COG's bot lane, especially, they 2v2 killed the enemy bot lane, which is something I'm just like, whoa, that...
Yeah, they power spike at 6, they jump on the Janna, they're able to blow her up.
Yeah, usually that doesn't happen, you know?
It was a little misplay by Smoothie because he had flash up, and he could have flashed before Alistar got the proc to hit his stun, and he chose not to, so, like, small misplay there, but... It was tough.
Right, and with that lead, like, Alistar's spent a lot of time with his pressure just snowballing mid lane. And so I was just like, oh, classic game where the Alistar's pressure just starts crushing the game before Jaina gets to censor and, like, 3-item AD.
Yep, so it's all going well, and then there are a couple misplays. One, as 6A's just trying to hit the turret and finish it off, he just stands there and gets rooted by Zaya and then gets killed. And then they also have a full-on like over-commitment in the bot lane fight as well.
Yeah, 6A randomly dies.
Yeah, again.
It's
a better game because he's buffering his jumps out of Ori shockwaves and stuff pretty well overall, but he's still dying a little bit too much.
This is 6A's best game. He plays the team fights phenomenally. Legit hard carrying a lot of them with no center support, no shields, and a worse front line.
Yeah, and... So what's interesting is the Rek'Sai builds full AD from a game where he didn't get a red buff in level 2 until 4 minutes and like 3 minutes.
Right, and at this point you're just like, wow, this is super ballsy. But I think there's a lot of factors where there's one main factor that you can think about. He's never getting invaded by the enemy jungler. He's always going to be ahead of the enemy jungler, especially with how Omar's been playing this series. Omar's always been behind. You're guaranteed the lead, and they have a tank top laner. So he was thinking with Janna and the tank top laner, maybe he can make some magic happen, but it's very difficult. And I didn't necessarily like it But he actually did so well with it.
He played it as good as I think you could. And there were a couple really cool power spike timings that happened where he has Galio and Janna to give him a little bit more defense than you typically would get. And then Shen built Titanic to punish the Galio, and then he builds Spirit Visage for CDR and because there's a lot of magic damage. But what that means is he has no armor to deal with this Rek'Sai who's building Warrior plus Black Cleaver. So there's actually a really cool power spike there where he could just fuck the Shen up, and you could fuck up the Maokai who only had one armor item as well. So he actually was really good about kind of fighting front to back, which was not something you're used to seeing.
Definitely not something you see out of Rek'Sai, which is like a champion where...
But he gets an Ardent Sensor Shield, and suddenly he just destroys tanks.
Yeah, it's really strange, but this is how I love to see Rek'Sai being played. I don't like seeing the full tank Rek'Sai, and this is one of the only times you can ever see Rek'Sai being played like this, with this exact comp. Tank top lane, shield support.
Yeah, it was really cool. It worked well in the mid game, but they're gonna end up losing Baron to C9 to get the first one in the game because they overcommit on bot lane where they roam 3 people down. He goes down with the Taliyah ult. I think Afro went down there as well. I forget which one it was. And it was Maokai. Actually, maybe it was the jungler. So maybe it was Maokai, Taliyah, Shen all try and kill the Galio, and they get the kill, but C9 just brute force Baron during that.
This is the game where they kind of get the Baron first, the 3-for-3 trade, and then they get Baron Elder, right, as off the edge of that.
What's that?
No. They get the Baron. It's a 3-for-3, the aftermath, right?
Yeah, they kill a lot of C9, but they still lost the Baron, and C9 I think get a turret or two.
Yeah, and it ends up being CLG gets punished really hard. They're down by 7k gold, and this is why I think that...
Are you playing with the...
I'm so sorry.
Here, you know what we're going to do? We're going to just pull this away from you, all right? Wait, why was this on top of a ledge?
That's why Josh was like, we don't have the stabilizer.
Yeah, but he put it on top of a thing. All right, I don't know what's going on here.
Our production may have been faulty. That wasn't me.
That was not Scarra's fault.
Hey, I'm sorry if we're breaking any ears out there.
How are you guys' ears?
Apologies for any of those.
Hello? Hello?
All right.
We're good.
Going into the rest of the game, this is where I thought that Hui's Taliyah played really well. How they set up for the Baron was excellent.
You mean the next one?
Yes.
Because C9 get the Baron, but a lot die. The game kind of stalls out. They might get one turret, but it's really not a big Baron power play.
Right. It grew a pretty big gold lead.
I think they're up to 3 or 4K, or maybe.
I think it's a little bit higher, but then COG just starts Baron.
We're getting a buzzing now.
Taliyah walls it.
There's no bars.
Yeah, it looks fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I don't know if the whole chat is saying buzz. Gone better. Gone saved. All right, we saved it.
Excellent. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
So, anyways, like I said before, this is kind of where I thought that CLG used Taliyah wall so well to be able to secure multiple Barons this game. This is the one of 2.
Yeah, so CLG lose this game. They also lose first Baron, but they get the next 2 without winning big team fights. So just really smart play. Contracts, because he's not tanky, has a harder time walking up, and then usually the Taliyah wall is shot super well, so he has to tunnel to get past the Taliyah wall. Alistar headbutts him away, and he's so far away from the pit, they can't do anything.
Yeah, and he at this point, he can kind of 4-hit by the Taliyah as well. Yeah. So it's extremely hard for him to even be able to walk in.
Yeah, because after he goes Warrior, Black Cleaver, he does not start building tank. He goes BF Sword into Guardian Angel, which actually ended up being a good purchase.
Into Hex Drinker.
So it's whoa.
He fully commits to his AD identity.
Yeah. And then CLG are able to get that Baron. It works out pretty well, and they grab a couple turrets, and the goldie suddenly goes back to basically even. And then things are going to go well up until CLG pick off Jensen in the mid lane.
And on this play, if you're watching, you're like, oh, CLG has
just won the game, dude.
Yeah,
we're going game 5.
They killed their main carry. Easy play. Galio comes in a spot where he doesn't want to be in. He has to flash out. It's looking great, and then Sneaky with Janna's shield just comes in, cleans this fight up so hard.
Yeah, he even gets some attention. It's not like he's unfocused and just pelting people. He still has to play it really well. He almost goes down, is able to stay alive through it, and they barely are able to take this fight. So C9 bounced back huge after what looked like a terrible play where Jensen's going to go down early on. And I think, the game keeps going in C9's favor, where like Sneaky's playing really well, Jensen's playing really well, up until, once again, CLG are going to get the next Baron. I believe C9 got Elder Dragon after this fight, though, right? That's like kind of the game ender.
I think before this situation, the bot lane fight happened.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're sieging bot lane with their full team, and you're just like, okay, well, C9 starts this fight out great. And C9 playing front to back with Janna just starts slowly being able to kill all the tanks of the other team really, really easily. But then in this play, Stixay actually goes off. He just jumps into or flashes into the play, kills Jensen in 3 hits.
He got a BF sword for this fight, and then was able to use it to like kind of lifesteal up. He might have been able to go a little harder. I don't think he knew he was going to get a Shen shield, so he ends up jumping out. Either way, he gets like 2 or 3 kills and is able to save the game for his team. So 6-8 was playing that super well. He then sells his Bloodthirster for a Blade of the Rune King, which I thought was really bad. Because the only person with health on the entire team is Galio.
He wanted a defensive item because he couldn't buy MR in this game, and he couldn't buy AD.
Is Bloodthirster not a defensive item?
Wait, did he buy it over Bork?
He bought Bloodthirster for this team fight, went off, goes back, sells Bloodthirster for Blade of the Rune King.
Oh yeah, no, I think he needed to keep his Thirster here because of he just couldn't afford to go any defensive.
It's full of AD Rek'Sai and like tank Galio, and then it's 2 squishies and a Janna.
Yeah. No, sorry. I thought something else happened, but I thought he should have kept it, but I don't know. At this point, do you think CLG has a chance of winning this game?
I think it's 100% execution based at this point. I think it does favor C9 a little bit just because Janna, Ori, Xayah, Galio I would take. The Rek'Sai being AD feels a little weird, and CLG do have Trist, Alistar, Maokai, Shen. So I think it's kind of close, and like if you get like a Headbutt Pulve combo with like a Talia knockback on a key target, you probably win. But it's hard.
Yeah, I find it really hard for them to initiate onto
to the Janna,
Xayah,
Ori,
and I don't know exactly how the front line lives against their back line because their front line is doing disgusting amounts of damage right now.
It's C9 favorite for sure.
Yeah. I definitely thought it was a C9 favorite position. Maybe COG finds a great flank or something happens, but it didn't seem to happen. Their tanks just got melted super quick.
Yeah, so the way the game ends up finishing is that C9 start brute forcing around Elder Dragon. They try to walk up on CLG side. Impact teleports behind and kind of just runs a distraction thing like, hey, look at me. And C9 is able to finish the Infernal Dragon, or the Elder Dragon, and then with that burn, they're able to kind of melt through Shen super quickly. And then Sneaky has a huge flash forward to finish off Stixay in this fight.
Yeah, and the fight's over. And there's those situations where it's like, oh yeah, it's just super hard for them to be able to connect to the Janna. Which I thought, by the way, just excellent pick.
Yep. That was a very good game out of C9. Sorry, I'm distracted. That's the series. C9 win, but it was another back and forth game where the winning team had less Barons, but had an Elder.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how well they're going to do going to Worlds, but I think.
Do you think they get out of playing stage without seeing? Because you have the way it works, if you don't know, is you take it's basically made the same way groups are made at Worlds in terms of pools. So there's a pool of tier 1 teams, which is CLG, Fnatic, World Elite, one other team that's not a Korean team. I think it's.
You mean TSM, right? Not CLG.
No, this is pool. This is playing stage.
You mean C9 instead of CLG?
Oh, sorry, C9.
Yeah. I was just like, where did CLG come into this equation?
Whoa!
You know something I don't?
No, I just don't have a brain anymore. C9. How do you think they're going to do in playing stage?
They'll probably do okay.
You think they get out?
Mechanically, they have some really good players on the team, and I think they get out. One of the biggest things I've realized during this series was that Impact got better.
Sure.
I actually don't think he used to be like a really big pushover in lane, and I think that's no longer. He's not as big of a pushover. It's hard to say the second game because he just got like stupidly hard camped by the Sedge, but overall, I think he looks like a better laner, and that was one of his biggest weaknesses, and he can still teamfight pretty well.
Yeah, he didn't get abused by Someday, though he had the favorable matchup, and he actually did pretty well with it. And then this time versus Darshan, when the jungler camped his lane, yes, he fell behind, but in tank versus tank matchups, he's fine. And he does a good job frontlining, good job initiating. All that's still good. Contracts was okay. It's hard to say because MarkZ's a bit of a pushover in the jungle.
Yeah, I can't really say. That first game, I just think about, I'm just like, Jesus, you almost threw this game for your team.
Yeah, and then Sneaky was hit or miss over the course of the series. Jensen was mostly good, and Smoothie was good on Rakan, and then the Janna was a good pick.
I don't think he played exceptionally
well.
well.
He didn't play exceptionally well, and then the game that he was on Thresh, he was completely, like, invisible.
I think he died.
Yeah.
He died almost every time he possibly could in that series. And just because he walked up in front and just got comboed and died instantly.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have a hard time saying how they'll do. I think they need to improve to get out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because the thing that I think about is, like, MSI, a lot of those teams that went to that play-in stage are, like, the level that you're going to see here. And Gigabyte Marines...
You think they'd slam C9?
No, I don't think they're going to slam them. Gigabyte Marines isn't even in it this time because they got a passer and they had members change. I'm just saying, like, if there's a couple teams that are playing around their level, on top of the fact that you have World Elite, blah, 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 it's very conceivable that they get a matchup that's a little tough.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. I guess speaking along these lines, we should talk about what's going to happen for the group draw. So group draw is Tuesday, and we kind of confirmed it, like, literally right here. But what's going to happen is I'll be streaming the group draw, or
you're getting up at Scarra's getting up at 5 a.m. guys.
No, I'll be streaming the day of, and while my stream is going, Mark will wake up and find his way over to my stream, and we'll do kind of like a live GLT episode talking about the group draw. I'll blow it up on my monitor, and we'll just talk about it and see how it is.
Yep, we'll do that. So Sneaky got player of the series. How'd you feel about that? Because I was a little surprised. I had my vote for Jensen.
I'd probably put Jensen as well.
Because so in game 1, Sneaky did 18% of his team's damage as Trist, and just the Syndra was like 9-0. The Cassio game for C9, like, I felt like Jensen was way more important than Sneaky was on Trist.
I think everyone just remembers the last game really well in the series.
Yeah.
Always. I think about all the series, and then
Impact was good, but
yeah, I thought Impact played well.
I thought
Smoothie could have even gotten it outside of that really bad Thresh game.
It was a weird series to talk about just because everyone had problems. Like,
yes.
Game 4, Jensen died twice. He was 0-2-0.
People are all talking about the game where he hard carried.
Yeah, he hard carried game 4, but the other games he wasn't that.
Yeah, I mean, you can even say that Stixay played well game 4, but it's like, if you look at the whole series, you'd be like, wow, Stixay was probably the worst performing player.
Yeah, if that one is pretty scary, given that MarkZ was, like, playing that way.
Yeah, I mean, but even with that being said, you probably still would say that, which is, ugly.
Wait, I don't understand that. He did 50% of his team's damage in a close game, and game 1 was just a stomp because Jensen went off. Why is game 4 more important than game 1? You have to win 3 games.
Okay. Anyways, I think at the end of all this, so we'll kind of do a live thing on Tuesday.
Yep.
And then that's kind of what to think about in the future. Do you have any last statements about the series? I thought that both the teams didn't play as well. I imagine kind of when C9 went to go grind for 3 weeks to, like, iron out their faults, they'd come back pretty strong. They came back not bad, but not great either.
No, this looked like a team that could lose to a Dignitas that was playing well, which is what happened in quarters. And CLG, I think they had 2 easy opponents in a row that kind of made you think higher of them, where, like we said, Dignitas fell apart. FlyQuest was able to beat that team that fell apart, and then CLG beat them. So, in terms of, like, hard wins that they got recently, there's really not that many. So it was one that was really hard to know what was going to happen. And yeah, I mean, C9, they were scrimming all the playoff teams the whole time, right? They're playing TSM, they're playing Immortals, they're playing CLG, they're playing Dignitas. So it's not like they were sitting around for 4 weeks doing nothing.
I don't really have any closing statements. I thought that generally Impact played better than expected. And that's my biggest takeaway from this series.
Yes, Impact was not abused. And had some good engages, which is something that he was fine with even when he was getting abused in lane.
Right.
It was just that
the only word for me was always like, how well could he stack up in lane? Because out of lane, like, I remember when they were still putting in Ray a lot, like, Ray didn't know what he was doing out of lane, where Impact almost always had a good idea of like, well, he's going to like just initiate really well, frontline really well in this scenario.
All right, so let me know, you think we get out of groups, and what do you think the percentage is at?
All 3 NA teams?
No, like just NA gets out of groups.
One team.
100%.
Yeah.
100% one team gets out of groups.
At least high 80s for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I just don't think we'd be that unlucky. But ask me again on Tuesday when I see the groups, and I'll be like, oh god.
I'll ask for this prediction again.
Like I would say 80 to 100% they get out of groups. One team in NA gets out of groups. I think it's unlikely that everyone gets unlucky. But I want to see when Tuesday comes around, we just look at the teams. And it's like, oh, TSM has like whatchamacallit. TSM has SKT or something. You're like, oh, that one just like.
Yep, because it's technically SKT is a Pool 2 team.
Yep.
Longzhu's the Pool 1 team.
Oh, that's disgusting, actually.
Yeah, you can end up with a team that's like group of death, like Chinese team number 1, SKT, them, and then like some like AHQ who's like Pool 3 or something somehow. I don't know.
Oh, it's only the playing group draw.
No, it's both.
It's both?
Yeah, it's both.
All right, cool. Then
I'm pretty sure because they flew in everyone in here and they keep calling it the group stage draw. So I don't think it's just.
Well, you know what? We'll see what happens. We'll talk about it on Tuesday. Anyways, do you want to do a Q&A? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'm down for a Q&A. It's kind of early. It's 5.
All right. Since Lord Josh is not that tired, or Lord Mark is not that tired, we're going to do some Q&As. Ask us any questions you want to hear about anything, honestly. But keep it smart and professional.
Yeah, or not.
Do you think MarkZ is good enough to stay in the LCS?
Yep.
Give him 6 months. Or like give him like 4 months.
I mean, I would say there's a chance he stays a bottom half player his whole career, right?
Oh yeah.
But that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve to be in the LCS. Who knows what his ceiling is?
Right. And to be honest, like it's really hard for me to analyze him because he has like at best a month and a half with the team.
Yep. Is SKT winning Worlds again this year? It's hard to know. I would bet on it, but that's because I never bet against. I don't know if Longzhu are the favorites or them, but I'm more scared about Longzhu if their playstyle is like our top laner is gonna fuck everybody at World Finals. You know, like if it's Longzhu SKT World Finals, I'm like, that's a hard win condition. Yeah,
I mean, for me, I've always learned never to bet against SKT.
Yeah,
and honestly, it just sucks because I always think Faker is like a fantastic player, so it's really hard for me to be like. With mid lane being always an important position, I almost never count SKT.
Mm-hmm. Will franchising affect your jobs with League? For me, potentially, just because people have been talking about format changes that might come with more teams coming in or less teams coming in. Who knows? That could be something where there's less analyst desk time in general, just because, like, hey, there's not as many games again. So, potentially.
And for me, like, I guess in terms of job, content creation, nothing really changes for me on the streaming end. But for this show, potentially, depending on how the format ends, like, GLT may not survive franchising just because...
At least not in its current form.
Right.
I think it's very unlikely to come back in its current form.
Right. So there's a good chance that, like, this is one of the last GLT episodes we're going to get ever.
Yeah, because it depends what happens with Worlds. If you go, if I go, if we don't go.
Yeah, and it's a big time investment for everyone involved, and we're not seeing any return for it, honestly. Don't get me wrong, exposure is nice. I like doing it, but...
Yeah, I like talking about the game still. I like having a more free-form show like this.
But it's also, like... It's a pain in the ass to watch every single NA LCS game, which for me, especially for you,
I don't care.
You have to do it. But for me, I'm just like, sometimes I just don't want to watch certain teams, and it is like a commitment of almost 18 hours a week.
Yeah, for nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Quote unquote nothing. Man.
Exposure.
Have you guys ever heard of Scarra before?
Yeah.
If I haven't, let me introduce you to Scarra.
This is Mark Zimmerman, ladies and gentlemen. He's.
Do you think C9 played down to the level of their opponent? No.
I think you only say that if you're begging that they do better at Worlds.
Yeah.
I think if they do better at Worlds, do not look at that and be like, wow, they played up to the level of their opponents at Worlds. They're playing at their level. It's because they had 3 months of boot camp in China. 100%.
2 weeks.
That was 2 weeks.
You said 3 months.
Oh my! I meant 3 weeks.
Yeah,
but
I was
2
like,
weeks.
Those are some pretty different numbers.
Yeah. My bad.
But yeah, if they improve, it's because they improved. I mean, they lost to Dig and they barely beat CLG in a very ugly series.
Do you think there'll be more than 10 teams next year? I hope so. I don't know if I hope so, but I think that with the amount of investors I've heard coming in for franchising, we're talking like, the rumors were 100 plus. I mean, some of them have approached people I know. Some of them have approached me. So I know some of the faces behind the investors, and I'm just like, they got a lot of money. I think there's a good chance that Riot will expand to 12.
We'll see. Also, just because, I don't think it'll expand too much.
Yeah, I think 12 should be the hard limit.
Because, the problem is not oh, man, I just wish we had good investors. It's you don't have that many players. And especially when you factor in academy teams, would you rather be a starter on the 12th best team or a bench sub on TSM?
It's true, I just think that there will be potential to have more talent, because especially depending on every team has to have a sub team, right?
Right.
But their sub team's going to get paid I've heard figures being around 60 to 80K for being on that team, which is insanely good.
Yeah, I'm 60, 80K be on TSM. Yeah, I'll take that versus 100K to be on random new esport org with some stupid logo.
And so I'm hearing that those are kind of the numbers being thrown around for being on B team. So I think the money itself is going to interest a lot of people to go professional, especially in the NA scene. You'll see people who may not be good enough to make it to LCS initially, but you couldn't give them a shot because on the challenger team you just import everyone.
So you're looking forward to Tarzan being in the LCS?
Oh, I said talent. I'm just kidding.
Damn.
I just think Tarzan is really good. He's just he's got non-performance related issues.
Well, too many lulls. I can't see any questions. Did Korean tops live up to your expectations?
Every year, the imports integrate better than the initial thing. I think Flame obviously is doing really well. Yeah. I thought Impact did great when he first came in.
He's been here for 3.5 years.
Yeah, now. And I think he's still doing fine. He's still doing pretty well.
Yeah, I think they mean the new ones Someday.
Looper,
Flame,
not that much. Someday, fantastic, I think. But did it integrate well?
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's his fault.
I think parts of it are. There's times where he trusts his teammates and he's playing Maokai and it looks great. And then there's times where he doesn't trust his teammates and he's like, dude, give me whatever I can hard carry on for the love of God.
Fiora.
Yeah, that was early in the season and at the end of the season.
We're going 40 minutes, boys. Yeah, I think they've done okay. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of the imports ended up in the top in playoffs from the, yeah.
Don't think that's a problem. Who should SKT take as their sub? Dude, I'm not Coma. Don't ask me that.
Probably Blank.
What percentage do you think? Oh God, I'm not gonna ask that question.
I couldn't even read it, so I don't know what you couldn't have asked.
NA players deserves in the world's top 20. I don't want to answer that question. It's players to watch. It's not world's top 20 because
it is though.
Is it?
It's not just players to watch. It's
I thought
it's top 20.
That's how Riot changed because they were just like, no, we can't do top 20 players. We got to do top 20 players to watch. And I'm just like, oh, that's perfect.
I was talking to Jad about it, and there's a lot of Koreans on there.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it's top 20 players. You will see Bjergsen, Double Lift.
You'll see Double Lift?
Maybe not.
He's not been playing that well, honestly.
All right, so you'll 100% see Bjergsen.
Yeah, he's actually a monster.
Smithy?
Ole, maybe. Ole, maybe. Smithy, Ole, maybe.
I don't think we're getting 3. Because I'm pretty sure there's at least 10 Koreans. And then it's more top 10 non-Koreans. Think of it as 2 lists, right? There's the top 10
10
players
Koreans?
who are 10 Koreans,
Oh,
and then
God.
there's the top 10 split between everybody else in the world.
Did IG make it to Worlds this year?
Yeah, didn't they?
So rookies finally can.
No, Rookie didn't make it. No, they didn't. They lost to WE. That's right.
Not again. Dude.
Yeah, Rookie's not there.
He's literally the only player in China that I see like clips of, and I'm just like, wow, that guy plays mid so well, and then it's like, oh, he didn't make it again. That's depressing.
Yep.
So, yeah, okay. I guess we're just gonna see two players
At most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bjergsen and X.
What skins do you want to see at Worlds?
Whatever SKT
It's
plays.
not Pugma. Jesus.
What do you think about? Do you think the tank shield meta is unhealthy?
What tank shield meta? That was literally 3 months ago during MSI.
I think they mean right now. So they're
yeah,
like,
but that's what I'm saying. There's no tank shield.
well, it's like the sensor meta plus tanks,
right.
Cinderhulk tanks, and I think that honestly, I hate it.
I mean, sensor is not even like crowding out the meta.
Uh,
Alistar, Thresh.
It's not, but I definitely think it's pretty bad in the sense that like if you can't hard
Well, it depends if
initiate.
you're talking about solo queue too.
No. I mean, just in competitive, if you can't hard initiate it makes it really difficult because for the most part, like champions that tend to use sensor like the best get kind of crowded out. Like I think that a lot of DPS oriented supports like Zyra, for instance, are seeing like incredibly low amounts of play because they don't fit either of their perspectives.
But
and
like
even Morgana, which should in theory beat a lot of
yeah,
these
but Lulu's gone, Karma's gone, Janna's the only thing you see. Nami is pretty much dead. I don't think it's a tank. It's not support. It's not like a shield meta for supports. It's just Janna, right? And like
yeah, I guess it's Janna, Alistar, Rakan is like
Janna, Alistar, Rakan,
Thresh.
Thresh, and then you might see some more fringe stuff like the Morgana or whatever.
or the okay.
Yeah, Ivern's not there. And like you see a lot of tanks, but every meta is tank meta. Anytime you don't see tanks, it's basically like, oh well, we're bored in the middle of a season.
Yeah,
that's why you're not seeing tanks.
I think the tanks. I think whatchamacallit. I would probably nerf sensor at some point.
Oh, I'm still down with nerfing sensor. I think sensor's a problem. I just don't think there's many. It's not like, oh man, I can't choose
I think
these
sensor's
tanks.
a problem. I think a lot of the tanks are problems right now, and a lot of that is just in general the buffs to Cinderhulk made tanks really really strong. I change how the jungle works. Like I think catch up experience should be in the game.
But I saw your tweet about the whole flat thing.
Yeah, I didn't realize. It makes sense because that's why everyone starts Raptors at level 1, which by the way should never happen. I think if you're at level 1, you should have the option to start a bunch of different things so that you have like the ability to kind of mix it up as a jungler. But I think the current system of catch-up XP is really bad.
Yeah.
Like super bad. It should never be per minion.
What do you think about the Stoneplate Locket combo? Because I don't really think that's like abused that much.
It's not abused that much, but it's because most games are over by the 3-item mark.
Well, and there's more important items to build before then, like Righteous Glory on a lot of tanks. Like Righteous Glory got a massive buff because it actually has defensive stats beyond health and mana, which is what it used to be. And then they make it have armor in its build path, and now it's crazy good. Like that's more of a problem. Knight's Vow is more of a problem than Locket's Stoneplate.
Knight's Vow is a huge problem.
I don't know why people pop off about Locket. The only time that Locket's been like quote unquote abused was in the CLG series versus FlyQuest, where FlyQuest comp, their whole comp was like, we're gonna blow up their backline. So CLG bought 3 Lockets, and I'd rather see cool stuff like that than like, oh well, it's just broken because it's statistically the best. Because it's actually not statistically that good.
The only problem
to build on multiple things.
Right. The only problem I have with it is, I don't think you should do that much damage with Stoneplated. Like I think if you're going the Stoneplate route, it's a way to multiply how tanky you are. I think of it as a scaling defensive item, somewhat.
I think of it as an item that you use after engaging.
Right.
To wait for your next round to cool down.
And it's like, okay, so you cut your damage by 40%. Let's cut it more. I think if we go that route, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think that's potentially fine. I think maybe it gets a little too many benefits, just like when you're close to that many targets. Like
passive additional armor next to 3 targets. You're just like, okay, but come on.
Yeah. I think there's some things like that make it a little crazy, but like in terms of things I think would be on like the nerf list for items between tanks and supports, I think Ardent Sensor is probably number 1.
Yep.
And then maybe followed
Vow.
by Knight's Vow, yeah.
That item is nuts.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be.
It doesn't feel good either.
It should be an item that like you're buying on Nunu Ivern, right? Because you want to be a supporter style jungler. Not you're buying first item on Gragas and Rek'Sai.
And Sejuani and Zac.
Yeah, and it's like, this is disgusting. Please stop.
Yeah. Ryu keeps asking this, should Player of the Games be thrown out for MVP?
I don't care.
No, I don't care.
Like, no offense, I just don't care about Player of the Game. It's just like, okay.
It's a fun little thing.
Yeah.
To be like, this guy was super important.
No, don't get me wrong. If like the Player of the Game award means something, like let's say,
well, it matters for MVP votes,
right?
But it's so small. The only reason it came into effect this time was because Bjergsen and Jensen both had phenomenal seasons.
Right. And usually, I just don't think it matters that much. It's just like a cool stat they give you, cool thing they give you at the end. You know?
Yeah. It's like, oh wow, this guy had the most Player of the Games.
Like for the. Yeah, and more than likely now we're going to franchising. It's going to be a sponsored segment, so it's going to be like, and our Coors Light Player of the Game goes to
Coors Light / any beer company watching. Hit Scarra and I up.
I don't drink. Any water company.
Scarra crushes beer.
Any water company watching. Fiji.
We need to stay hydrated.
Smart Water.
My lips are a little dry right now.
I love water. Just throwing it out there. I can just hear Josh talking about anime. Honestly, it scares me a little.
That's like true 90% of the time though. Like,
yeah.
you could be sitting at your house right now and be like, I think I hear Josh talking about anime. You'd probably be right.
You're right. I mean, do you see a question you really want to answer? For the most part, I think a lot of these questions will be answered after the draw, because some people are asking us draw related questions.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do like hypothetical draws, all that kind of stuff. I just don't want to do that. To be honest, I think it's easier to do afterwards. And aside from that, that's pretty much it. Yeah,
thank you guys for watching. It's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to doing the group draw. Tuesday will be a fun day overall for both of us.
Right, and we don't know exactly when the next GLT episode will be for Worlds. Me personally, I might be going to Worlds. I may not be. It's all up in the air.
I'm doing the play-in stage, so my sleep schedule is going to be fucked.
Yeah, and so it's all up in the air about GLT for the rest of the year. I will say just follow us on Twitter as soon as you figure it out. And the Greatest League TS Twitter, we'll let you know through there. But aside from that, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday. Hate it.